What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another superstar from the sport of mixed martial arts. We get to talk to Extreme Couture head coach and general manager, world championship coach, who also holds the title of 2020 Co-Coach of the Year for the MMA Junkie Awards. Of course, we're talking about Eric Nicksick. What's going on, Eric? How are you?
Good, brother. Just riding the wave, man. About to pack up and head home. Excited to go home and hug the wife and see the kids, man. It's been a long month. Been on the road though. It's pretty much this entire month. So, but definitely going home on a high.
Right, for sure. We all saw it yesterday. The world, well, maybe not all of the world was in shock, but a lot of the world was in shock. We often say the sweet science is what it is. If you're one of the best in the world at it, it's pretty hard to go into that territory and do well. And if they come into the MMA world, the same thing. They're going to get spanked and sent home. But this was yet another one of those anomalies. And your friend, your guy, Francis Ngannou, just shocked the world. I mean, one on one of the judges' scorecards, one on many unofficial scorecards that were being tossed out in, through Twitter and social media. First of all, what did you think of the performance and how proud are you of your guy?
Oh man, blown away. And nothing really surprises me anymore. I think when it comes to Francis and the level of expectation that he carries, and we love that the doubt and everything that we're told that we can't do. It does motivate us, and I know it definitely motivates him. And this is something that he's had in his mind for such a long time now, and then for it to come to fruition, there was a moment in the ring when Tyson was walking in, and I just kind of taking it all in, just looking at the event itself, at the scenario. And Francis looks over at me and just has this big old smile on his face. And I was just like, dude, you did this, man. Like, literally, like, before we fought, I'm like, you did this. This is on you. Like, holy hell. Like, I couldn't be more proud of him. And, just his hard work and everything that he's been putting into this, and his self-belief is, I think, second to none. So, what an amazing couple of fights that we've had with Gon and him, and now Tyson Fury, and sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you pointed something out, and maybe I should have started there. For one, there was this huge delay between the last boxing match and yours. There was a lot of production. A mini concert took place out there before this match, and then obviously when they rose the ring, there was a delay in getting things set up there for the VIPs, the commissions, all that. Did that in any way disrupt you guys? I mean, again, you had a great performance, but to me, fighters push through certain things. So was there additional warm-ups or anything that messed you guys up in the back?
Not in the least. It was actually kind of funny because we were all pretty chill and hanging out, and then when he got wrapped up, I think Dewey did a good job of kind of pacing everything, and then I went in the other locker room to watch Tyson get wrapped. I felt like the timing of everything felt pretty good. And then I think the one delay that I remember them coming in, they're like, okay, it's not going to be this time. It's going to be like 15 more minutes or whatever. And that didn't even feel that long, so to us in the back, it was like, oh, come on, hurry up. Let's get going. It just felt smooth, it just felt natural. And nothing really took us out of our progressions as far as the warm up goes.
Yeah, because I know that bad boy started after 1 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. But I'm sure you guys planned for it. When you went in that other room, did they say anything to you like what Francis says that Tyson told him before the fight, which was, I'm taking you to school? So as the event got closer to the fight itself, it almost seemed like they started more of the, not antics, but I guess not being so friendly. So do you remember either his dad or him saying anything to you as you were observing the rap?
No, they're actually quite the opposite. They're all very classy, very friendly. Sugar Hill was very friendly, and even Tyson and I kind of cracked a joke back and forth to one another. And no, I thought they were very professional and very accommodating in the situation. And it's part of the sport. It was the first time I've ever gone in the back and watched somebody rap our opponent. So it was a different vibe. The locker room was certainly a different energy. and it was cool. I mean, it was there was a moment there where I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. I'm in Tyson Fury's locker watching him get his hands wrapped. So, but no, they couldn't have been more accommodating and more nice in that scenario.
Okay, another one from me, and then I'll hand it over to Goes. As you're walking, you guys did the whole. He's sitting on the chair, the throne. There's the crown and the robe, and then you guys just walk down that ramp. Describe it to us, man. There was a lot of combat sports, legendary boxers, notables, and the notables from the entertainment. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo's there, and then all of the uh, most important people in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. How did you take it in all in? What were you thinking of? Do you remember anything that stood out to you, as you walked down that was just, you had to pinch yourself, I guess, surreal?
Yeah, just try to stay in the moment. Definitely wanted to take it all in because that was a chance of a lifetime event, and experience for that matter. And just wanted just to be present and connect and look at some of the faces in the crowd and feel the music and feel the vibe and feel the environment, but also stay present in the fact that we had a big task at hand. Not to get too emotional or anything like that, or too hyped up. But when that God's Plan song hits, man, like it's just something different when you see Francis walking down and getting prepared to fight, and the energy was insane, man. They spared no expense. It was an unbelievable production. The cast of fighters that they had out there, past and present, the celebrities. I mean, it was unbelievable. They really outdid themselves, man. Everything from the moment we arrived. I'm in this beautiful hotel apartment, whatever. They were so accommodating to everything that we did. So the production was just over the top, man. It was so cool to be a part of.
Eric, do you feel like something like that? Because you're right, it was phenomenal. I mean, honestly, like when you think about like I don't know, Ivan Drago and Apollo Creed, they look like a smoker compared to what you guys put on out there. Do you think this is going to be like the future of combat sports? Is this like the beginning of what could possibly be? Because we're in the fight capital of the world. At least I am. You guys are all over the world, but I'm in the fight capital of the world right now. Like I'm used to something like this going down and looking outside my window and knowing it's not that far away. Does this feel like the beginning of something that could maybe start to be bigger out there?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Goes, and that was the feeling that I got right away when I was out here. I was because Randy's out here right now, Couture, and I talked to Randy. I was like, I think we're gonna be making a trip out here a lot more, huh? And Randy's like, yeah, dude. Like, I think they're gonna be starting to do more and more things. Not only we saw the UFC just signed with them, but obviously with Riyadh season and the boxing, and now they're getting involved in more MMA. I know PFL plans on coming out here, but they're building so many different things out here, and they're trying to make it more accommodating. I wouldn't say they're westernizing it, but they're making it a lot more accommodating. And man, it's been a very valuable experience for me. Like I love being out here. Everything about this was a pretty cool experience that I think that more and more people are going to be heading their way out here, and they're going to enjoy their time in Saudi Arabia.
Eric, what was unique about the situation was both combatants were wearing boxing gloves. However, one of the biggest impacts that this all had is probably on the guys that wear the little gloves, right? I mean, we go back months, before, and all the things that were being said about whether this should even happen, whether it could be profitable, whether it was the wrong move. How big of an impact with something like this is it going to have on all of the mixed martial artists that are watching at home?
I think it's huge, and I think that it's that 4-minute mile mentality where some the guy that breaks the 4-minute mile, the impossible feat, and then once somebody does, everybody else knows that they have that opportunity to do the same thing. So I think more and more MMA guys will look for this opportunity as well. That was the first thing I wrote Sean Strickland. I was like, you ready to move over to boxing? And he's like, damn right, man. That's all I do is spar boxers anyway. So, yeah, I think that Francis kind of paved that way. And showed that this is capable. We are capable of competing, and not only competing, but winning and putting it together at a high level. So, I'm proud of him, man. He kind of laid that groundwork.
How much of what played out in the ring was game plan, and how much of it was adjustment, or just Francis kind of just throwing out the playbook and doing whatever needed to be done? Can you kind of break that down for us?
I think it was a good mix of all of that, to be honest. We sat down in July and just kind of try to figure out the roles and what we were going to do. And, Dewey did an incredible job, right? Like this was, he carried this, he did all the heavy lifting. And this was something that initially, like when Francis wanted to kind of set the roles, it was like, Eric's my MMA guys, but he's going to be in the corner. He's always going to be, part of this. Dewey, you're more my striking guy, but I'm going to hire a boxing coach, and then never really got a boxing coach involved until later on. And then we had John from France came in. But again, like John was kind of he did a great job, but it was just another side role, if you will. But Dewey really took the reins and made this what it is. So the game plan, I think, for all of us was, we were under the idea that it wasn't us to go out and box Tyson Fury, but it was like to outfight him, and stay erratic and stay unorthodox and do the things that we already do well and within MMA, but clean those things up a little bit, and I think that's why you saw, Francis switching his stances a lot more in this fight. That was something that we talked about quite a bit, and setting things up from different angles and putting our power hand forward and, working the body and then really attacking more when we got him into the corner, like the turnbuckles, just the same way we would do within MMA. So we weren't trying to really reinvent the wheel, but we're also trying to lean heavy on our athlete and his athleticism. So, I think Dewey did a freaking marvelous job, man. And, just tip my hat to the guy, man. It was a lot of hard work, man. I saw this dude just getting the crap beat out of him all camp, holding pads. And, not only that, he had his whole stable of fighters as well that he was dealing with, and traveling and doing all that. So, really when it boiled down to it, to be honest with you, goes, I think it was a combination of all those things. And there were some adjustments we made mid rounds, simple things. It wasn't too crazy. It was just kind of keeping Francis in line on what was working. And then, where do we add on? And we didn't want rounds to get stolen away, which I feel like that kind of did happen. The one thing I would say looking back on the unknown was, the cardio. I think Francis was, oh man, I don't know. I didn't want to get tired. And the more the rounds are going on, I was just watching his belly and getting between rounds. Man, his recovery was unreal. Like our strength and conditioning coach Tripp, he did a great job with him. And then like around 7 or 8, I was just like, yo, man, like let's start putting the gas pedal down on this guy. And Francis agreed. He's like, yeah, I don't want to leave anything behind. Like I want to leave this tired, So I think for us just to understand a little bit more how to calibrate our energy as the fight goes on, that will be some of the adjustments that we can make later on in the future. But man, other than that, I think, everything was hitting on all cylinders for us.
Eric, give us a preview, because we're going to discuss this on Spinning Back Click, the show that you've been on with us. And it's unavoidable because we really wanted to talk to you post-fight. So it'll be nice to get your input. But he looks so great at boxing that we almost want to see him box again before MMA. No disrespect to the PFL and whatever plans they have there and his plans there. I'm sure he'll do well over there. I would expect him to pretty much, wherever he left off in the UFC, like mopping people up. I think most fans expect the same at PFL. We'll see, right? But, I mean, when you face the lineal boxing champ and take him to a split decision, you kind of start to think, well, wait a minute here, let's rethink things, I guess. I don't know. What about from your side? Like if I'm asking, or if he's contemplating it and he just turns to you and says, what do you think? How would you lay out his future?
Yeah, I think we would have to weigh out those options and do what's right for the scenario. But from my understanding, when I spoke to him, he wants to get back to MMA and he still loves MMA and he's still growing in that sport. And there's there's still so many things I think that we could accomplish, not only as a skill set, but in the landscape of MMA. So, from my understanding in talking to him, that's the goal, is to get back to MMA, hopefully, first quarter of 2024. And after that, then it's like maybe we go back to boxing and then jump back into MMA, do something like that, like a one-off. But man, the sky's the limit now for him. He holds all the cards. He really does. So, they can really come back with a huge number, and he might box again. I don't know, but from my understanding in speaking with him, and then this was even just recently, definitely wants to get back to MMA and get back to the wrestling grind and kick in and everything else, man. So it'll be fun to get back to work with him.
Now, I know you weren't his head coach per se in boxing, but you were part of the camp. You were there, right? And of course, we know your role in MMA. What was more fun for you in the experiences of the big fights that you've had with Francis? We'll just isolate on Francis, because obviously Strickland was awesome, Sterling was awesome, all the others you've been with. But just with Francis, can you compare the two? As a coach, just like the strategy of it all, the task that was ahead, all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same to me in the regards of like, that's my brother, so no matter where my role's at, my loyalties and my love for him will never change. So, that was the best part about this one for me, was like, I got to learn a lot too. And I got to sit back and watch, Mike Tyson come in and help for those couple practices, but just, he wasn't there a lot, but he was there. And you take advantage of that time when a guy like Mike Tyson's around, and then watching John and watching Dewey, and it was very different because this was like my first full camp involved in boxing, so I got to take away a lot from it, just from a learning perspective. But as far as like the emotions go and my involvement, man, it's like they all are up there. They're all equal the same to me. And I know we didn't get the win on the scorecard, but we definitely felt like we won the moment and won the night. And I could be more proud of Francis after that, man. It was an amazing experience.
Aside from Mike Tyson, were there any other boxing luminaries that sided with Francis, won the fight, that spoke to you directly or, as a whole to the group?
No, I actually talked to some guys on the side. I talked to Chris Algieri. I've known Chris for a long time, and a guy that I just respect immensely. And I wanted to kind of pick his brain from a guy who competed in MMA and kickboxing, but also was a very good boxer in his own right. And just wanted to kind of talk to him about my thoughts on some of the game plan and some of the approach, and just see if I was like out of line. Like, hey, what do you think about like some of these stance switch things and this and this, and just really just throw ideas out there, because I for one, like, I trust the guy, and he's gonna tell me what he thinks, and he's not gonna sugarcoat anything, or so that was fun, man. Like, it was cool to be able to like really talk with him in those regards. And then there wasn't really anybody else that came in as far as like the boxing world went. But the one cool thing, man, was Lennox Lewis talked to me when we were at the banquet, and he's like, I wanted to be involved, and I hope to be involved in the next one. Lennox Lewis to me is like is my GOAT when it comes to the heavyweight division in boxing. So Lennox Lewis to come up and say like, hey, next time I want to be involved, man, I was pretty stoked about that.
Meaning he wants to be part of the camp for Francis's preparations?
Yeah, he just said, I'd like to come in and help. Not like he wants to come in and coach or anything like that, but he's like, hey, next time, I would definitely love to come in and help you guys out and get some work. And and I was all for that. So it'd be cool to have Lennox Lewis involved in any capacity, even if it's for one day.
Yeah. Did you rewatch it, and did you score it? How'd you score it, if so, or do you remember how you might have scored it that night?
Yeah, I couldn't get on ESPN Plus out here. I was like trying to use a VPN and everything else, but we haven't really slept, So we got home and I think I went to bed at like 7 a.m. I slept for a few hours, and I've been up all day. So I haven't had the opportunity to watch it yet. And the whole fight felt like a blur. I'll tell you, the hard thing, man, because I couldn't see the screen, where I was like, what round are we in? Because it was just going by, and I was like, holy shit, what round are we in? And Brett was sitting there in Akamoto, and I was like, Brett, like, see what round it is, because me and Dewey couldn't see the screen, so that was different. But for the most part, man, I haven't been able to go back and watch really anything other than the highlight of the knockout. And I seen that the overhand that he threw that kind of turned into an elbow that Tyson Fury hit Francis in the forehead with. There was a moment that I would love to see in there was a time when Tyson and Francis were right in front of us, and there was a good exchange there. And I swear Francis caught him with like that same kind of uppercut he caught Kane with. And Tyson kind of buckled into the rope, and I felt like the rope saved a knockdown. I'd love to go back and see that again in replay because it happened so fast right in front of us. But when I saw Tyson's eyes, he looked like he was pretty glossed over, and I felt like Francis caught him with another one.
Do you remember what round that was in by any chance?
7 or 8.
I'll have to go back and look because I want to rewatch it before spinning back click and Junkie Radio.
Yeah, check it out because it was literally right in front of our corner. But
I stuck around post fight to hear what they had to say because it was the zone over here in Peru where I'm at. Goes probably watched it on ESPN Plus, so maybe he had other announcers. But here was a big contingent of boxers. Eric, let me tell you something, man. They were amazed at Ngannou. They said Ngannou was the winner of the night. They said the rounds were close, but they were really almost, I think they even used the word embarrassed and ashamed. Like it almost seemed like boxing as a community were like, wow, like we just got punked, like that type of thing. Did you feel any of that as well, from the boxing side? Like, oh, like a rough night for us. Anything like that post fight?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of did, but no one gave us a chance. I mean, really, no one. So I'm kind of immune to it by now. I mean, I've had literally 4 or 5 months of people saying we can't beat Izzy, we can't beat this guy, we can't. Just so you just kind of become immune to it. But I will say this: the one guy that really did give us a chance, and man, like it was crazy what he said to us in the pre-fight lead up was Tim Bradley. And he was speaking to the group, the coaches and Francis, and he goes, I was debating on telling you this, but I had a dream that you dropped Tyson Fury with a left hook. And he said that pre-fight. He said that in the pre-fight meeting. And he goes, I not only give you a chance, but I think you can win this fight. And this is, bro, we were blown away. He was really the only one that out of that community I felt was giving us a legitimate chance to win. And I don't know if he put it in the universe or whatever, but he said, my wife told me not to tell you this, but now that I got you in front of me, I feel like I have to. He goes, I had a dream that you dropped him with the left hook. And so that the moment we saw him after the fight, man, we were like, dude, you called it. You called it, man. And he said he was very gracious to Dewey and myself and the team. And he said, man, you guys not only shocked the world, but you guys outboxed him. He goes, you guys outboxed him, man. And gave all the credit to Francis and deservedly so, man. It was pretty cool that he was really the only one that I saw, that gave him a fighting chance.
That's such a difficult way to look at things from the boxers from their perspective, because the first thing they're going to want to point to is they're going to say, well, we underestimated him. And right. I didn't see that. You know what I saw the whole fight? And I told George this because we were connecting through FaceTime. I said, he looks confused that every time Francis changes stances, where the punches are coming from, the way he's standing, all of that seems to be getting to him. You could see Tyson Fury kind of going, wow, this doesn't make sense to me, how this guy is hitting me from these angles. And that was what I felt going into the fight was his biggest weapon was you got to kind of be a little bit of the MMA guy in this fight. Don't be the boxer, because that's not what
100%.
And I felt like that played out. And I think Francis deserves a lot of credit on his own in regards to his management of his stamina. That is so hard to do. MMA and boxing, there are different things that tire you out, and being able to know how to manage all that. I just feel like Francis Ngannou had a tremendous night. I think you guys played a huge role in it, the way you prepared him. I think he just used every advantage he had at his disposal. He used it all. And I think Tyson Fury was just very confused. But at the same time, I don't think he expected to get hit that hard. I don't think he expected to get hit that much. I feel like it was more on Francis than it was on Tyson not being prepared or any of that.
Yeah, I think that you nailed it. I feel like we had more wrinkles in our game. Like we there was a lot of things that we wanted to show and do, and the southpaw thing was something that we thought was going to be really good for us. Francis was lacing that left hand all during training camp and all during training camp. And when you hold pads for Francis, and we tell him all the time, his left cross out of southpaw is probably more accurate and faster than his right cross out of orthodox. And I think that maybe because that's traditionally his jab hand, but it's now on the rear side. But this thing comes out, it goes fast, and it's very accurate. So once we started having success out of southpaw, not only were we having success, but we also saw Tyson Fury looking a little bit more confused on how to approach it and how to attack it. That was something we talked to him about in the corner. We said, hey, man, if you feel comfortable there, if you feel like your defense is sound out of southpaw, let's stay in southpaw, but let's use it to start adding on our reloads. So that like he would throw the left hand and then gallop and reload to the overhand or reload just in something, again, off the rear side. And then possibly throwing the left cross into a stance switch into our orthodox right overhand. He tried that, but got smothered. Those are some of the things that we thought would actually work really, really well was our step overs and going from one stance to the other. And he tried a little bit of that. And I think, that was some of the things that we'll have to get better at with experience. But yeah, man, I certainly feel like he had a lot more wrinkles in his game, Francis. I felt like he was able to show some different things that were very confusing. Definitely the Superman punch, I think, caught all of them off guard. Man, it was so cool because that was something that him and Dewey have been working on for a while. So we end the night with that, like in the warm up. We end the night with the Superman punch, and Israel Adesanya is in the back. And Izzy sees, first he sees him hitting southpaw, and Izzy's like, oh my God, like I didn't know Francis is this good out of southpaw. I'm like, yeah, man, he can crack out of southpaw. And then Dewey's like, Izzy, we gotta check this one. Last one, and Francis hits a lead uppercut and a Superman punch. And Izzy grabs all the pillows off the couch, starts throwing the pillows, and he's like, holy shit, you guys gotta do that. You guys gotta land that. Like it was kind of a cool ending to the warm up. Just the enthusiasm and just how ecstatic Izzy was to see, as his buddy execute the Superman punch. He's like, you got to throw that. That is the shit. Like, get him up to the barrier. And that was the kind of last piece of our little bit of warm up. So, yeah, man, I think there was a lot of things that we were able to show and do that were more predicated to the MMA side of things that, most boxers might not be accustomed to. But when he threw the Superman punch, Tyson Fury's corner was going ape shit. They were so pissed. They're like, that's not legal. And the ref goes, it was legal. His foot's still on the ground. He didn't leave his feet. So, yeah. So we Francis wanted to wait till he can kind of get him in that barrier. And it didn't land per se, but it was definitely a cool technique that I think that, caught him off guard.
Last two from me, Eric. I'm going to need you to pull out a crystal ball for these two, though. First question, do you feel like these guys will ever fight again before Francis' career is over?
I think they have to. I really do. I think they have to. After that performance, how can you not, man? And in the ring, like John Fury, the whole team, the whole Tyson Fury team was just so nice and so gracious. And let's not get it twisted, man. Like they provided us a great opportunity. We needed two to tango. And Tyson kind of gifted that opportunity, and I felt like they kind of thought that they were doing us the favor, but we were trying to spoil that. And I think being the competitor that Tyson Fury is, I'm sure he doesn't want to not give that opportunity, or he definitely wants to take it. Maybe I won't say he didn't take it seriously. I feel like he did. I think he took the fight seriously, but I don't think he expected some of the things that Francis is able to do in the fight and accomplish. So he probably wants to get that back and try to show that, he's a much better boxer. So I definitely think that these guys will fight again.
Before you ask your next one, let me just say two quick things.
Go for it.
One, going back to Superman punch, the announcers went nuts. When you see it on TV, they loved it. And the other one that I was going to say right now was, I just forgot. So back to goes.
Francis Ngannou, what's made this whole process so beautiful is he controls his own destiny. He holds all of his cards. And so obviously, you look at John Jones and Stipe Miocic and what happened, right? That could have very well been Francis versus John Jones, and now that fight would have been gone, right? So I guess my question is this. Now that this is all kind of played out, do you feel like Francis, at any point, man, if it's his last fight or whatever, do you think he'll ever, I know he's with the PFL, but do you think he would ever don those UFC gloves ever again in his career?
I don't know. I would like to say yes, just to be optimistic with that. I just don't know how much damage like the relationships are there. I would like to think that Dana, Hunter, Francis, the powers that be would be able to set any of that aside to make the best fights possible, as long as the circumstances were met. But I would hate to say never. I just don't believe in saying that, and I'm hopefully optimistic that there's an opportunity that we can go and compete against the guys that I feel that are the best in the world, and John Jones, Tom Aspinall, Sergey Pavlich, and these guys that are up and coming fighters, and maybe even one more with Stipe, get that trilogy.
Hey, you know what? I do want to say one last thing. I know that the UFC has their side and everybody else has another side. But for this one day, can't we all just be happy, like MMA and what was done that night? I think everyone should just put everything aside and just be happy, because I don't know that we will ever see anything like this in our lifetimes ever again. And you were front row for this, Eric. That's amazing.
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. And to be able to tell my grandkids about this experience and this moment is very surreal. I got a lot of text messages from the guys in the UFC, and they were all very proud of Francis as well. And I think that we could put that aside, and we said this before, like, success is infinite. There's enough to go around for everybody, and we can all be happy for each other's successes. And that's what I pray for, man. I just hope that we can all make money, we can all be successful, and we can all push one another and into greatness. And I think that's what we have in front of us right now is one of the best athletes on the planet when it comes to combat sports, and that's Francis Ngannou. And I'm just glad that he's getting the flowers that he deserves. People hated on him. People told him he fumbled the bag, he did this, he did that, he did this. But man, I said that to him going in around 10. I just said, bro, this is your destiny, man. And, it's just an honor to be by your side and watching this all unfold. And, whatever he decides to do and wherever this path takes him, he's going to be incredible at it.
Eric, people are going to wonder, was it UFC athletes that texted you or UFC executives that texted you?
I'll just say just all of the above. All of the above. It was nothing but love. So, people were very happy, I think, for him and his accomplishments and, the team. And, he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot in the last couple of years with this, not only with the contract disputes and the knee injury and, all of it, all of the above. I think there's a lot of hope in just him being successful, and I felt that it was cool to be a part of. And, how can you not love the guy? How can you not love the guy and what he does in the game? So he's rewritten the rule book, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, going back to what Go says, then that makes us happy to hear that even from that side, they were happy for Francis, they were happy for MMA, they were happy for your team. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to be respectful of your time. We've taken up 35 minutes. But I still have a few more questions. You tell me, can we still go, or do you need to, huh?
I got nowhere to go.
Oh, you got nowhere to go? Oh, holy cow.
Cristiano Ronaldo's not waiting anywhere, anybody?
Nah.
Ronaldo, Eminem, they don't want to go to the club or nothing?
And if he was, I wouldn't give my time away from you guys, man. You guys are my number one, so I'm here for you.
Thank you. Did you meet Cristiano Ronaldo by any chance, or Eminem, either one?
No, they were all at the banquet, but you just imagine all the hoopla and everybody around him, and
right,
circling him and stuff. But I got to meet my guy Lennox Lewis. That was that made my day. I almost had tears in my eyes when he came up and said hello. I was like, no way. Lennox freaking Lewis. Yeah, that was cool. Randy and I were standing there talking, and then he came up and just shook my hand. He's like, man, huge fan. And I was like, what? I looked over at Randy like, holy shit, dude, it's Lennox Lewis. So it was cool.
That's awesome, brother. So he's a fan. He's seen you like in Strickland's corner or Francis's corner. Like he's followed your MMA career.
I think so. Like his manager came up and introduced us. So he just said, hey, I wanted to introduce you to somebody. This is, I like look over and I'm like, it's Lennox Lewis. And Randy and I were sitting there. Randy and I were just having a conversation. So it was cool. Like, come over and say hello. And he just said, man, huge fan. Next time, you guys get a boxing match lined up, I'd love to be involved. Love to come in and help you guys out. And I was like, man, that would be a freaking honor. It'd be a freaking honor. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool to even, shake his hand.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions was there anyone that you might have been starstruck by from the boxing world? You just answered that. If there's someone else, go ahead and share. But then let me just pivot to my next question. Izzy, great friend of Francis Ngannou. But you were on the opposite side about a month ago. Did you guys discuss that fight at all? Did you guys talk about it? Was it awkward, pleasant, or was there anything?
Oh man, it was very pleasant actually. We didn't really talk about the fight, but dude, it was all love and all respect, and that was really it. Like he came over and gave me a big old hug, and we were both there for the right reasons. We were both there for Francis, and obviously we competed against each other last month, but I had nothing but love and respect for him and his team. He knows that, and that's the fight game. And then I kind of had a funny moment because like there's a bunch of cameras on us when we were talking, and then like Izzy's just great. He sticks out his hand, like grabs my hand all like serious and shaking my hand. He's like, hello Eric, good to see you again. How was everything? How's Sean? Just making it kind of this funny, awkward moment. And then man, we didn't chat too much about the fight, but just kind of about like just his future and how he mentioned he was going to take a little bit of time off, but he's like, yeah, I'm not really like retiring. I think I just said I was going to take some time off, and they kind of spun it a certain direction. But we didn't talk any X's and O's or anything like that. And I'll tell you what, man, like I was so happy that he was there because of his energy. He really owned the room, and like he exuded like gratitude, and like he made the room environment a lot more fun, enthusiastic, and like just heart was in the right place. He traveled a long way to be there for Francis, man, and I thought that was pretty cool that he took the time to do so.
What impressed you the most about Saudi Arabia? Maybe non-fighting. Was there just any like, oh my God, I've never seen that many Lamborghinis, or I don't know. Are the hotel structures anything about them? Like I don't know, outside the box.
Yeah, definitely the architecture, for sure. Like the labor laws, I'm curious about that because next door to me, they've been building this freaking hotel for 24/7. They haven't stopped at all. Like they're just building this thing. I was like, I feel like they're trying to build this hotel before I leave. In a 13-day span, they've just been building. But yeah, like they're erecting these freaking arenas in like 2 months span. Like the arena that we fought in, I heard was like it was done in 3 months. It was crazy. So yeah, that definitely stands out to me. But dude, they took care of us. Like we have the entire 5th floor of the Fairmont out here. I mean, it's just this beautiful room, beautiful hotel. They have the entire 23rd floor for Francis and his entire family. I think we have like 30 rooms in total. All of our flights, like I'm flying home tomorrow, business class, this is all on the promotion. This is all on their dime. So, I mean, they really rolled out the red carpet for us and take good care of everybody involved. So couldn't be more happy.
You were gone a long time for Australia. You come home, and then now you were gone a long time here. But I saw a nice tweet from your wife, Annie. She was into it. What would you say to your family, man? They're letting you live out your dream, and I think that's pretty cool. And I'm not trying to make you cry, but still, I just feel like, wow, that's quite a commitment, man. Like seriously, you just been gone a lot. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
It just seems like they're always your biggest fans, and they're the happiest, regardless of the time away.
Yeah, for sure. And none of this is possible without them. And I just I know how much extra added weight it puts on my wife. She runs the house as it is, even when I'm home. But I'm able to kind of take some of that relief off of her, pickups and things of that sort. So when you're on the road this long, and especially during a crazy time in the world with everything going on in Israel, I think that added a lot more stress to not only my mom, but my wife and my family and everybody else. Just, are you safe? Is this what's going on? So that's another added element to everything. And, you nailed it. You nailed it, George. Like, I'm in this position really because of my wife. Like she, without her, I don't have this opportunity. And not only is she my biggest fan, but she's my biggest driving force, So, the wins and losses, those things come and go, but she's definitely the rock behind everything that involves Eric Nicksick, that's for sure.
Before we let you go, is there anything that you had hoped to discuss here, maybe that we just somehow avoided, that you wanted to say? Just because I imagine your mind must have been blown away these last few weeks by the event itself, by how much they invested in this event, and again, all those boxers. I had an interaction once with Roberto Duran where I was speechless. Luckily, Goes and Stitch were there to make the introduction, but like I say, the floor is yours if you want to say anything here before we wrap up.
No, I'm just so happy for the entire team, to be honest with you. And it goes layers deeper with Markel and Randy, Andrew, everybody involved, the logistics behind this thing. And I was sitting with Markel having lunch, and he was showing me his notes from like 4 years ago, and just kind of how he architected this whole thing. And it was like 4 pages of just notes, and literally like 2/3 of those things like came to fruition. So there's just so many layers and levels behind this whole thing that I think get overlooked. And then, man, I want to just give my flowers to Dewey, man. Like, I feel bad in a lot of ways because, Francis and I are always going to be attached, right? Like, but this one we sat down in July, and I said in a meeting, I said, when we all met, I said, I think you make Dewey your head boxing coach, man. Like, this guy's quite capable of doing it. And not only do I think he's quite capable, I think you're able to succeed with him in this role. And he lived up to all those expectations, man. So and he's my bro. Like, I love the guy to death. We've been together for a long, long time. We've won a lot of fights together. And I just hope that the people really understand what I saw from him, the workload that he put on his shoulders, from traveling, he traveled one day to cut weight with Bubba Jenkins, traveled back to be at a practice, for Francis, and then traveled back to Texas the next day to corner. Like, this guy was just all over the place, just making sure that he was there for all of his athletes. And as a fellow coach, man, you see that hard work and that effort that you put in there, and it's only inspiring. So, I just hope that the MMA community, the boxing community, and everyone involved just really understands how much work Dewey put into this camp, and the love that we all have for him. And he was extra special this time around, man. And I'm just proud to call him my friend.
And we are proud to call you our friend. And thank you for the time today. Go get some sleep. Although you are flying business class, so who knows? You might have a more comfortable bed than us on your flight home.
I didn't know that, like, Saudi Arabia is a completely dry country. Like, there's no old fashions. You can't grab a beer. There's none of that here. So the moment I land in Heathrow, I'm gonna turn it up a notch, boys. So it's gonna be fun.
Centurion Lounge or one of those, right?
Oh yeah, it's game on. I'm gonna have some old fashions, one or 12.
That's what's up. All right, Eric. Well, we'll see you soon in Vegas. Safe travels. Congrats again to you and the teams, and Big Fran as well. Please tell him we said congrats on that performance, and we'll see you soon.
Will do. Love you guys, man. Good talk.